Hi, it's Lisa, and in this video I want to show you how to create a left outer join step by step. So step one is the report request. So here it says, run a report that shows the customers who have not placed an order. So right away I see that I potentially need the customers table and the orders table. I can't emphasize enough that you need to look at the entity relationship diagram. You can't make assumptions about how tables join together, and so you have to look at this roadmap. So I've isolated customers and orders, just those two tables we need, and here they are. And what I want to look at is the join line, and I want to find out which is the one side. So the one side's these two vertical pipes, right? The crow's foot's the many. So I want to pay attention to the one side of the relationship, and I'm looking at the primary key for that one side table, just the same way I did with an inner join. I'll make a mental note of it that it's customer ID because I'll need that in my on statement. All right, next step is to do the research. So it's so important to also do research so you're familiar with the tables, how many records they hold, and this will help you catch errors. You might find yourself in a situation where your code runs, you produce record results, but you don't realize that you have an error in your logic and that actually the results that were produced were not what you intended. So it's so important to be very familiar with the number of records in these different tables, and there's some other research you can do. We'll use the keyword distinct. And make a note of those, the number of records returned. This will help you do to verify that your final statement is indeed accurate. So let's take a second to do that. So I have the select all from customers, and I run this, and I have 91 records. And I realize with this database it's very easy to see that because it's right here. But not every relational database will have this little display on the right. So I'm going to take a second to do a comment here and say 91 records. And then I'm going to do another statement. And I'll do orders. And again, I know what the answer will be. Let me comment this one out first. And so we'll just run this. And I have 196, and yes, that matches over here. Okay, so let me copy this down. And I've got 196. All right, the next thing I want to do, something a little different. I'm going to go back to the slide and show you that in this case, I'm recommending you do select distinct on customer ID. And let me explain why. This is from the orders table. So if we think about the orders table, and I still have it open here, if we think about the orders table, we have a customer that's associated with every order, right, that placed the order. And we have repeats. So you can see here's 34, and then here's 34 repeating again. And so if you look through here, you'll see, lots of different records repeat. You can also see that if you add an order by, right? So if I had said order by, so this would be another way to do some research, order by customer ID, right? I can then really very easily see those repeats, right? Here's 555, 7777, right? So clearly they repeat. So instead, and I'm going to stop the order by so I have a little bit more room. I'm going to first I don't need these other fields, so I'm going to just first put in customer ID. Now that is going to still show all 196 records, including the repeats, right? There's 34, there's 34 again, so all the repeats are there. But then what I can do is add that keyword distinct in front of customer ID. And distinct basically says don't show the repeats, right? So when I do this, now I have only 74 records, and I can add an order by too. I should maybe leave that back in, right? And I'll run this. So you can see customer 1 is not there, and what that means is customer 1 is not in the orders table, because remember, this all comes from the orders table. So what that tells me right away is customer 1 has not yet placed an order. Maybe they're in the system, but they have not yet placed their first order. So then I can see 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I see 6 is missing, right? So clearly customer 6, same thing, has not placed an order. Now I can tell too that when I do distinct, in other words, I show each customer one time from the orders table, that's 74 customers, but we know we have 91. So there's a number of customers, right, from those 91 that they're not in this list, and so they have not yet placed an order. And so I document that back here. So when I do a distinct on customer ID, it returns only 74 records, which is less than the total. It's less than that 91. Okay, so this familiarity will help you. So when you actually do the outer join, you can, verify it with some degree of accuracy, reassuring yourself that there's no error in your logic. Okay, so let's wipe all this out and start again with the next step. So here is the next couple of steps. What I recommend you do is start actually with an inner join. Because I really want you to see the change in records. So let me just go through these slides very quickly and watch the arrows here, the green number of records and what the join is. So first I recommend you do an inner join between the two tables, and you can see that's going to give me 196 records. Then I'll do an outer join, and that's 213. And then finally I'm going to filter, and that's going to give me those 17 records of the 17 customers who have not placed an order. Now I'm going to go through those same 3 slides, and I want you to pay attention to the visual, the Venn diagram on the right. This really helps people understand what's going on here visually. So when I do an inner join, it's basically what I call the yellow football. So it's showing the matches where there's a customer in the orders table. So it shows only those matches. Okay, so that's what an inner join does. Then when I move to the left outer join, it shows both the yellow football and then what I call the yellow moon over here. The yellow football is where there are customers who have placed orders, and the yellow moon is all of those customers who have not yet placed an order. They don't have a match over in orders. Okay, you can stop here because sometimes we do want a query that shows everything. We want to see the customers who have placed an order and the customers who have not placed an order. But sometimes we just want to see the yellow moon. So we go to the third scenario. There's just that yellow moon. And these are customers who have not placed an order. And I still have that left outer join here, but what I've added is down here where the customer ID from the orders table, so the O.customer ID, is null. Okay, let's try this out. So I'm going to go back to the code, and again, the step 1, let's go to the first part of this, is to create an inner join. Okay, customers and orders. So I'm going to do select, and I'll just leave my all here. And I recommend don't worry about the fields you want, even if you need specific fields. Just do a select star in the beginning, get the join working, and then go back and you can change this. So I'm going to say select star from, and again I'm going to start with customers as C, and then I'm going to do inner join orders as O, and then I'm going to do my on. And remember, I need to remember what that primary key is from the one-side table. That's customer ID. So that's how I know to use customer ID here, where C.customer ID equals O.customer ID. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to just do an inner join in the beginning so that I make sure everything's working. And I also want to note the number of records, right? So I'm doing an inner join, and I'm noticing that it's 196 records. And so I could write that down somewhere. I could, make a comment, 196, right, records with the inner join. Okay. So then what I advise you do next, once you're here on the inner join, all you do is go here and simply change inner join to left outer join. That's it. And then notice the records. So here I go. I'm going to do left outer join. Some people you'll see will do just left join, so you'll see that style as well. I like you to add outer just because it reminds you that this is an outer join in reference to the visual that you have in the Venn diagram. All right, let's run it. Now I have that 213, that larger number, and here's what's going on. Remember, we're trying to, when we get to the left outer join, we're here visually. We've got the yellow football, which is the customers who have placed orders, and we've got the yellow moon. Those are customers who are not associated with any order. And so this is why you see customers like this one here, but you see a bunch of null, 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 because this customer has never placed an order. So you can see order ID is null, employee ID is null, etc. Okay, so if we keep going, we'll see more. Here's another one. This person, null, 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 right? And as I keep going, I'll see more of these. Okay, this might be fine. I may want to see both the customers who've placed orders and the customers who have not placed orders, just like this scenario here. But sometimes I want to take it to this next level, which is I want to filter out the yellow football and I just want to see the yellow moon. So this is where I add my where. So when you do your where, you're basically looking at one of these keys, but you're looking in this case at the other table's key, right? Where the customer ID from the orders table is null, because obviously in the related table there is no order. So when you basically tell yourself this where is one of these fields, but which one would it be? Well, it wouldn't be c.customer ID because that's the customer, C is the customer table. Of course they're going to have an ID there. It's in that other table, the related table, the orders table, where you wouldn't see a corresponding customer ID. Okay, so let's go do it. So again, I'm going to come back here and let me put my cursor back here where, and I want to say o.customer ID, right, is null. Okay, so that's basically, you can see this customer ID here that's null. I'm trying to pull up all those nulls, and those are the people that have not placed an order. All right, here we go. And you can see there they are. And these are the 17 records that we need right here. Now, let's take a look at the slide deck. So another way to think about this is with the math. And I'm just having you take a look at this Venn diagram again, just to sum up. When we first did the inner join, we know the inner join produced 196 records. When we next went to the left outer join, the left outer join is this, actually it does the whole circle, that's 213. If you say 213 minus 196, well that's 17 records. So the math adds up, and you can try this here. You can do it this way too. 196, which is the yellow football, plus 17, which is the yellow moon, right, where the customers have no matches. Those added together produce that full 213. So this adds up. Another way to think about it visually, I've just pulled these out. Again, the yellow moon plus the yellow football should equal that whole circle that represents the records in the table. Okay, that's it for this video.